Today, Kieran, we have an interesting bottling from one of our familiar bottlers that we've tasted before and from a familiar distillery, but a release from Caol Ila from the Thompson brothers, 10 years old, one of just 90 bottles. I think we have already preconceived notions about this, but tell me about your experience with Caol Ila and Islay whiskey in general, I suppose, or the Thompson bros.
Yeah, I think Caol Ila, it's, something of a classic Islay whiskey. You kind, as you said, you know what you're going to get to some regard. It's going to be nice, peaty, maybe not quite as in your face as some of its neighbours on the island, but maybe a slightly lighter style of peat coming through.
That kind of medium level peat, we would say.
Yeah, sort of medium to high, if we really wanted to be pedantic. But yeah, I think it's going to be a nice peaty dram. It's on the younger side, as you said. It's a 2013 vintage, bottled 2023, 10-year-old. And I think the smoke tends to come through more prominently in younger whiskies. So
I think a lot of people are quite funny about aging in whiskey, and they always think the older the better. But if you want a really peaty, authentic Islay whiskey, actually the younger it is, the more that authentic peat is going to retain, right?
Yeah, you're going to get a lot more of that character coming through. So
and a refill hogshead as well. Not going to be cask influenced too much. We're really going to get a distillery character here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think American oak or bourbon casks really lends itself to that sort of smoky style. So yeah, I look forward to seeing this. As I say, Thompson brothers have got a really good reputation for banging out great whiskies, getting their hands on nice casks. So yeah, it's really intriguing to see what we'll
think. Here. I think Thompson bros, we've tried quite a variation of what they've done now. And for people that aren't familiar, Phil and Simon, the Thompson brothers, founded the Dornoch distillery in 2016. So they're kind of new whiskey entrepreneurs, but they've made a lot of noise since they've been in the industry. They're an organic bottler, so they're really got not much space up there in Sutherland, but they're producing a lot of really interesting bottlings, uniquely labelled. This one's quite eye-catching, really. But I've been so impressed and a little bit shocked with the quality of liquid they've been able to produce. I think for a long time, for big names, big distilleries, aged product, you had Signatory and Gordon MacPhail and a lot of really big established, almost companies with, almost some have distilleries as well.
Yeah.
These guys come along. Dornoch is easily in the smallest 3 or 4 distilleries in Scotland. And the warehouse, I went up to visit their warehouse for some research, you know how it is, it's a hard life. And the warehouse is pretty much a garage. I mean, it's not a big operation, but it just goes to highlight, obviously, how well they're doing and how hard they're working, that they're able to produce stuff like this. I'm expecting to struggle with this whiskey a little bit.
You're not a big fan of the Islay style,
If you know me, you know that sometimes I really struggle to get over the peat and get some more notes from a kind of medium to heavily peated whiskey. This is also a single cask that's bottled at natural cask strength. This one's bottled at 57.1%, so it's punchy, so it's got a wee bit of water to help us out. I'll open it up and we'll have a wee go.
As you were saying, Thompson brothers have managed to build up such a great reputation. You mentioned the likes of Gordon MacPhail, Signatory, a lot of the sort of big heavy hitters in indie bottling, and Thompson brothers in a short amount of time have
made a lot of noise.
Yeah, exactly. They're sort of muscling in there with the big boys, who the other companies have been making whiskey and bottling their own stuff for decades.
We see a lot of independently bottled Caol Ila as well. I mean, really, there's not that many Islay distilleries that are willing to sell casks.
Yeah.
We know Caol Ila as kind of the corner of Johnny Walker, that smoky corner.
Yeah.
About people probably don't appreciate how much whiskey they produce.
Yeah, it's a massive distillery, isn't it?
It's over 6 million litres a year in the capacity, so with big brands like Lafroig and Lagavulin, we know how colossal and how successful their single malt is. Caol Ila produces more spirit than both of them combined, which is just bonkers to think of.
Yeah, I think, as you said, for the fact it's so important in one of the world's best-selling blends, but they produce their own single malt and they've got enough left to sell to bottlers as well.
And now, so Diageo are now reopening Portellin on the island. So you're going to have Lagavulin, Caol Ila and Portellin all producing smoky whiskey on the island. My understanding is we're going to see less casks of Caol Ila sold. They really are focusing on the blending industry and trying to make as much of the market they already have. So this might be, again, 1 in 90 bottles, this is quite unique, but this might be quite an unusual thing to see really high quality Islay whiskey independently bottled in the not too distant future. Let's have a little smell, a little taste.
I was going to say, I've not even put it to my glass yet.
Yeah,
I don't know
can
about
tell
it yourself,
straight away.
but I'm already getting that sort of smoky bacon
It really
aroma
is.
really coming up in the face.
It's a bellowing smoke already. It's
a mouth-watering prospect.
yeah. Again, the cast really doesn't hide much here, which is good. If you like Caol Ila, you already know you're going to like this.
Yeah, very smoky, very meaty.
Yeah.
Maybe a touch of sweetness coming through, like a sort of maple syrup kind of for me.
Definitely. The nose is pretty big for me to try and comprehend, truth be told. What I'll say is, because of the peat and because of the, again, not incredibly active cask, you're not getting much ethanol. There's not a clear sign on the nose that this is 57%.
Yeah, I'd agree entirely.
Let's have a little taste, see what you think. Wish me luck. Oh,
You holding up all right there, buddy?
that is an authentic single cask Caol Ila. That has kicked my arse. It's hot and it's smoky. It's such a big bellowing smoke. I think I'll be tasting this for hours.
It'll ruin your dinner.
It's one of those. I understand why people love it. Delighted this year. I'm going to go to Fage for the first time. And I feel like when you're on the island and you're drinking the whiskey, there is something that gets you into it, but this is still a big push to me. And I'm imagining that you're loving this.
Oh, yeah, this is an ideal dram for me.
Yeah.
You're going to have to keep your eyes on that bottle when we wrap up here.
Do you like it at the strength as well? Or are you feel inclined to add water?
I will add a little bit of water just to see how it develops, but I could drink that at the 57% that it's at.
I'm going to add quite a bit of water. Get criticised online, but I don't mind. I'm like an old man. Vegan. It's just such a big, unapologetic punch of peat.
Yeah, very peaty. It's not that medicinal peat you'll associate with like Lafroig. Just very earthy. It's just making me think of like a campfire by the beach or something like that. Really, really nice.
Makes you think of running and falling in mud. And then there's pepper. There's real pepper hit.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's from the ethanol or it's actually the alcohol, but the spicy finish is helping me with the peat a little bit, but I'm sure I'm aware this is an excellent Caol Ila, but this whiskey has kicked my arse. And I'm going to have to tap out on this dram. See what you think with a bit of water.
Yeah, I was about to say, how did you find it with water? Did it reduce any?
I'm going to add more, and I've already added quite a lot. I will, it's all about seasoning your food, right? It's I will find an acceptable level of peaty whiskey that I can cope with.
Yeah, just may as well just empty your dram into the
literally. This is
jug there.
But the nose is okay, a little bit. There is definitely sweetness. Kind of sweet smoke.
There's like for me when I've added water there's a slight kind of funk to it, which is that sort of intangible flavour. As soon as you say funk to someone who knows what that means when they've had a whiskey, it's the only way to describe it.
Yeah, it could be a little bit herbal as well on the palate now.
Yeah, there's like a sort of damp wood now that I've added a bit of water. It's taken away some of that peat sort of ferocity.
I'm going to keep on adding. This is going to be called...
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got all day. Yeah.
Ross tries water with a touch of whiskey in it. Okay, great. Love water. That's a bit softer. And the more I add, it is very high in strength. The more I add, maybe slightly more bourbon notes coming through.
Yeah, I think it's quite ashy on the finish for me now. So, yeah, it's not for me, I preferred it without the water. But I think that's just a pure personal preference.
Yeah.
I think at that strength and obviously the age and how smoky it is, you could add a drop of water and you're just going to keep getting a different kind of profile each time you add a little bit.
I think this really shows how individualistic whiskey is. I mean, this is a great expression of a strong distillery from a fantastic bottler. Really lucky to get to try it, but absolutely has put me in my place, and you've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing it with me.
Well, thank you. Pleasure. And
cheers.
That's how I'll be taking this with me. So.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.